Hey there, I'm Stuart Webb, entrepreneur, CEO, podcaster, and your dedicated host, returning with another insightful episode tailored specifically for your business. This is another one-take video blog where all the mistakes will stay in. Meetings continue to waste people's time, and what I'm discovering is why most individuals hold meetings just to meet. Most people do not contribute in many meetings, and more importantly, work is just put back. And we still need to have meetings. If I had just $1 for every time I heard somebody walk out of a meeting and said, "What a waste," well, how rich would I be? And I believe it's virtually an epidemic. I hate to use that word, but I do believe it's absolutely true. Okay, meetings often are called and don't always have a clear objective, and the leaders haven't determined who should or shouldn't attend the meeting, and that is why they are wasting so much time. The other cause is that they're following incorrect meeting processes. Leaders are not sure how to run a highly efficient, compact meeting. So, what's the answer? Well, how do I ensure that many meetings have a purpose? I'm always clear. If I'm going to get people to meet, I need to ask why. Why do I need to get them to meet? And what do we hope to achieve? Because if you haven't done this, you're wasting everyone's time. So let me give you an example. I speak to many sales teams, and many sales teams say to me, "Oh, we have a weekly team meeting." And with clients, I chat with them and ask, "Tell me, what is it about that meeting? What do you do?" And I often get the answer, "I know some people have daily sales teams meeting," and I always ask them, "Tell me about your meeting." And I often get the answers to things like, "Oh, they're so very boring." And I ask, "What are you talking about?" "Oh, the exact subject we discussed the day before." I'm saying to them, "Well, why are you having the meeting if you're just going to rehash what you stated the day before?" Now, this is particularly true when people say, "I don't know, we have always held a meeting." So I go to the sales manager or the person often leading the meeting and I ask them, why do they do that? And they often say like, "Oh, we're meant to have a meeting." Are you? No, absolutely not. But wouldn't it be amazing if they were shorter and more concise and had a point? Yes, there's a way. There are 4 sorts of meetings to choose from. Because each team meeting has a unique methodology, each one of them has a process, many people confuse the 4 types. So let's perhaps run through those. The first, most typical, is what I refer to as a reporting or check-in meeting. That's where folks just report what their activities, KPIs, etc. are. The leader then gets a flavour of what's going on. The second one is the meeting where you are problem solving, where an issue needs to be resolved. That you need to have an objective to actually answer a question. The third is the decision-making session. We've already reviewed all of the facts and the information, possibly in the second type of meeting. Now we have to decide what we're going to do about it. We're coming to make a decision. And the fourth one is what I call a strategy development meeting. That implies we need to address some major issue. We need to develop a strategy, a way of doing something that will be much more in depth than just, we're going to get to an answer. Now, each of these meetings, sessions, has a unique process. So when I try to combine a check-in meeting with a problem-solving meeting and a decision-making meeting perhaps all at once, well, half of the people that are at the meeting say, "Well, this bit's not relevant to me, it's not my area, but I'm just going to sit here for an hour whilst all these other guys talk around in circles about something that really has nothing to do with me." You can see how many meetings end up wasting time. The most crucial step is to choose the correct style of meeting and therefore who needs to attend, and limit it to just that type of meeting. One time I held reporting check-ins to see where we needed to be, what we were supposed to accomplish, and these were 7-minute stand-up meetings in the morning. We put up visible LCD screens so that everyone could see the reports, information, navigate through dashboard, no matter where they were. This was either at home or in the office. We all stood, even if we were at desks, and it was a rule that cameras had to be on if we were virtual. And we did the same thing at the end of the day, just 7 minutes. The conclusion of the day probably lasted only 5 minutes. We managed to achieve a lot by checking what we needed to do. So that's the check-in meeting. But what about how to make a decision? Well, there's a different process for that. It's a process I use, compression planning. It's an excellent strategy. It employs a visual storyboard method. This is really significant when it comes to planning, particularly strategic planning. That's the big idea. The majority of the population are visual learners, which means that if they see something, they not only understand it, but can also act on it. This is where most strategic planning sessions fail, because they devolve into an argument fest, or who talks the loudest to get their point across, which shuts everyone else down. And that leads to problems of not everybody having their way and not everybody having a say in things. So compression planning uses a visual approach called storyboards. Each person is allowed to capture their ideas on a small card, and then it's pinned on the board, where everyone can see it and take all of the information in. Then there's a consensus procedure in which everyone in the meeting votes on the most essential issues. Most often they are given, say, 3 votes, maybe by putting a small dot on a card. You could buy small sticky dots, or you can put a dot on a card with a coloured pen. Those with the most votes are brought forward to be further investigated with strategies built around them. So this is a very remarkable procedure, and for example, when I was working with a large international corporation, they told me that they had a problem with their expenditure and budget, and they needed to remove $90 million from the budget. So I needed to convince the leaders of all of the departments and divisions to give up a set sum up to the 90 million, which couldn't just be equally shared out because various departments had different needs. The CEO called me and he said, you know, we've been arguing about this for a month and I want you to come in and we might need a week to settle it. And I answered, oh, I think I can do it in a lot less than that. Well, we did it in 5 hours because everyone could see everything. It isolated emotions. They're all done through those cards and the voting system. What does it do? It unites everyone. I've used it for both big and small businesses. But what it does allow folks to understand is exactly what the ideas are and then participate in or vote on whatever direction they believe they should be moving in. Again, this is democracy in action, and the majority of votes take those ideas forward. So it becomes a very good approach. But people must buy into it because, for instance, if I vote for it, I will most likely have to implement it as well. Okay, that's probably enough about meetings and meeting procedures. If you found this video helpful, remember to hit that like button and share it with fellow entrepreneurs, and of course subscribe for more insights and inspiration. Stay tuned for more valuable information and share your thoughts in the comments below. That's it for today. Hope you've enjoyed watching this, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon.